Buffalo Bills safety Damar Hamlin has been cleared to return to the field more than 4 months after going into cardiac arrest. The 25-year-old collapsed in a Monday night game back in January and against the Cincinnati Bengals after taking a hit during a routine tackle. Medical personnel performed CPR on Hamlin for 9 minutes, including the use of an automated external defibrillator. But is a return to the football field a good idea for a player who nearly lost his life? Joining us to discuss is Dr. Fahmi Farah. She's an invasive cardiologist and CEO of Bentley Heart Center and Global Health Alliance Foundation. Dr. Farah, thank you so much for joining us. So we learned this week Damar Hamlin was cleared to play. What tests were likely administered to make sure he wasn't any more at risk of suffering another cardiac event on the field?
There are several tests that can be done to ensure the safety and that the heart is okay. One of them, of course, is an echocardiogram. That is an ultrasound of the heart that can give us a lot of information in terms of the function of the heart, the structural capability, like the sound, to make sure the structure of the heart is sound. It can give us the size of the heart, the valves. So the overall function of the heart can be assessed by a simple echocardiogram. I'm sure they've also done a stress test on him just to make sure that he can handle the stress on the football field back. So those are some of the very simple non-invasive testing that could be done. There's another thing called cardiac angiography, which is a cardiac catheterization, where it is an invasive procedure. We can go in and make sure there's not a blockage in the heart that could have been responsible for the that sustained. Of course, we now know the cause. It was commotio cordis.
And while several potential causes for his cardiac arrest have been floated around, we haven't got, a definitive explanation for why he collapsed. I, of course, know you weren't treating him, but will you talk about what you believe caused him to collapse and nearly die on that field?
The overwhelming feeling is that it was something called commotio cordis, which is a sudden blow to the chest and the heart area during a very narrow window of the heart rhythm cycle. When if you sustain a blow to the heart, it can suddenly stop the heart from pumping and can cause the heart to go into this dangerous arrhythmia where it just beats really fast in a really erratic rhythm and can cause the person to pass out and collapse, which is cardiac arrest.
And is there anything preventative he and the Buffalo Bills can do to prevent that type of situation from happening again? I mean, it does seem like from what you're describing, it really was a very kind of once in a lifetime perfect alignment of all these things going wrong at once. But are there preventative measures that can be taken here?
When it comes to specifically commotio cordis, the only preventative measure is to make sure a blow to the chest doesn't happen directly. So, in terms of this prevention would need to be mechanical protective gear.
And if you were his doctor, would you advise him to step back out on the field and play again? Of course, he's very young, but it is a big concern.
Yes, anytime there's cardiac arrest on the field, that is very, very scary. I will say that, when it comes to commotio cordis, a specific thing, yes, I do feel that if that was the cause, that there's no danger in him going back because the recurrence rate of commotio cordis is not really very high. In general, it's a very, very rare condition to begin with. And from my understanding is that he has been cleared by 3 different cardiologists. And if the cause, in fact, was commotio cordis, then yes, I would feel comfortable with an athlete going back to the field after, of course, their due diligence and going through all the testing and making sure that his heart is okay.
Well, I know fans across the country, no matter, where their team allegiances lie, will be rooting for him to get back on the field to play again. Dr. Fahmi Farah, thank you so much for your time and expertise this evening.
Thank you for having me.